Welcome to the very first episode of Healing State Mojo, the podcast that helps you unlock your body's natural ability to heal, recover, and feel your best. I'm your host, Heather Creson, and together we'll explore science-based strategies, practical tips and insights, plus a little bit of mojo to help you create real, lasting change in your life. I can't wait to kick things off with you. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, and I'm so excited to finally see it coming to fruition. You are exactly where you need to be, and I am deeply grateful that you're here. A little bit of background. I've been in practice for over 17 years doing body work, corrective exercise, nutrition, and a lot with sports performance and athletes. I love what I do, and I've had so much fun working with the most wonderful clients over the years. But for a long time, I've wanted to expand and be able to share my knowledge and experiences in a way that can reach more people and make a meaningful difference in their lives. Hence, this podcast was born. The goal of this podcast is to help you unlock your body's natural ability to heal by understanding how everything in your body is connected, how it works together, from the way energy is created to how stuff is utilized in your body, to how waste, toxins, and toxicants actually get out of your body from that deep cellular level. We'll talk a ton about the nervous system, digestive function, and even the connection between your emotions and what's going on in your life and how that connects to your overall physical health. We're going to explore science and strategies, a little bit of woo, plus a lot of wisdom from the trenches to help you take control of your health in a way that's both simple yet deeply impactful. Ultimately, I hope that what we talk about on here can be a blessing in your life and in your family's life in profound and meaningful ways. So this podcast is called Healing State Mojo. What in the world is your healing state and why does it matter? Your healing state is a sacred place of rest, protection, and peace where your deepest healing and restorative work can begin. This is where your cells start to repair and regenerate, where your body gets the opportunity to clear out deep-seated stagnation, where systemic inflammation starts to decrease, and where your energy production becomes strong and sustained. This is where your immune system becomes more resilient, and it's where many of the symptoms you're experiencing really start to get addressed. Your healing state is also where your creativity is unleashed, where your dreams come to life, and where the love you have for the people around you can be most deeply and fully expressed. The thing that takes us away from this sacred place is stress. Now, these days we aren't running from lions and tigers and bears. We aren't sprinting after our dinner. Our predators have become difficult coworkers and bosses, tight deadlines, financial burdens, medical problems, relationship challenges, the roller coaster of business ownership, the wonderful but oftentimes challenging responsibilities that come with being a parent. On top of that, we have a lot of physiological stressors coming at us from every angle. Poor nutrition, dehydration, toxin and toxicant exposure, underlying infections, all those kinds of things. In my experience with bodywork and movement, there's stuff like scar tissue, especially scar tissue in the neck, chest, and abdomen. You've got poor breathing patterns and poor posture that all perpetuate a chronic state of stress. That's a lot of stuff, and it can be very overwhelming. Even just going through that list of stressors was probably overwhelming. But the bottom line is that all of these things create stress and pull us away from our healing state. So in the face of all that, how do we create space and margin for our bodies to heal and recover? Because at the end of the day, we're always going to have stressors around us in some way, shape, or form. And my even bigger question, and I suppose my life's work, is this. How do we become more resilient and thrive in the face of all the different stressors that are coming our way? Well, my friend, that's what this podcast is all about. Let me tell you right up front, I don't have all the answers. Far from it. In fact, the more I learn, the more questions I have. So this podcast is going to be a journey. I'll share what I'm learning professionally, what I'm learning in my own healing journey, and also what I'm learning from being a mom and having to navigate the medical and health landscape, or let's be honest, these days it's more like a battlefield, navigating that for my kids. And in sharing my journey, I hope it helps you move forward with clarity and confidence in your own. So as we're getting started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 17 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I started out in massage and bodywork, and I still do tons of it to this day. But one of the things that really frustrates me about this industry is that people always seem to focus on where someone is tight or hurting, not why they're tight or hurting. They spend their time chasing the symptoms of pain, tightness, or discomfort. Rarely do they seek out the underlying cause. Let me give you an example because maybe you've experienced something similar. You wake up in the morning and can barely turn your head, so you take a few anti-inflammatories and hope it eventually goes away. Sometimes it does, but other times you have to make that emergency call to the massage therapist. You get there, the therapist asks where you're hurting, and then spends a majority of your session digging into those tight, painful areas, and they might even spend some time stretching tight muscles. More than likely, you leave feeling pretty great, but after a few hours, the pain and discomfort creep back in, and sometimes it's even worse than before. One of the reasons pain and tightness keep coming back is because people are only focusing on a small piece of the puzzle. They're not looking at the entire picture. They rub what hurts or stretch what's tight, which can bring temporary relief. Unfortunately, this doesn't typically address the underlying reason why this issue occurred, so it keeps coming back, sometimes with a vengeance. That same isolated approach, focusing on the symptoms versus seeking out the root cause, has plagued the majority of our medical and therapy systems as well. So whether you're dealing with fatigue, brain fog, gut issues, chronic stress, anxiety, or depression, hormone problems, autoimmune illness, weight issues, and so much more, there's always a deeper reason why these issues are occurring. Now, going back to what I do, and this is one of the things that really got me digging deeper and looking at how the body's all connected and how it all works together, the lymphatic system. It has been, hands down, one of the most interesting areas I've ever gotten to study. And in the big scheme of things, we know so little about its systemic impact. We typically only think of the lymphatic system if we have swollen lymph nodes when we're sick, if someone gets cancer like lymphoma, or if someone has surgery to remove lymph nodes. That's really common in breast cancer. But your lymphatic system is so much more than that. It does a lot of cool things, but one of its major roles is acting like a trash collector at the cellular level. It takes the waste, toxins, and toxicants from your cells, and it takes all of that quote-unquote trash back into the bloodstream so it can be processed by your liver and kidneys and eventually eliminated from your body. I've gotten great results in practice using lymphatic work alone, but that also begged the question, well, how do you get healthy lymph? And this is the point where I want to welcome you to the rabbit hole. In order to have healthy lymph, you've got to have a healthy liver because your liver, among hundreds of other jobs, produces about 50% of your lymph. But if you want to have a healthy liver, you've got to have healthy bile flow. We typically overlook the importance of bile because removing the gallbladder where bile is stored is such a common surgery. Let's just take it out. But bile is a really cool and important part of the detoxification process, especially stage 3 liver detoxification. Bile binds to fat-soluble toxins that the liver processes and carries them out of the liver, through the bile ducts, into the small intestine, and then eventually to the colon. Now here's the thing. All of this, bile flow, liver health, lymphatic health, and so much more, all come full circle to one important process that we don't talk about enough. Pooping. Yep, your body's ability to poop is actually where healing starts, and it's one of the most powerful indicators of our overall health. And since we're talking about poop, this is a perfect time to swing the conversation back around to a more personal part of life, because I've got one kid that's mostly potty trained and another one that's just starting. So poop has taken the center stage in our household. But honestly, that's one of the reasons I wanted to create this podcast, to share both sides of life with you. Because life isn't just about the work we do or the knowledge we share, it's about the day-to-day joys, struggles, chaos, and experiences that shape who we are. And for me, being a mom and navigating this wild journey of parenting is a big part of that. Since I've got kids, one of the things that's been in the forefront of my mind is having a plan in place in case something happens to me. So I've been navigating trusts, wills, guardianship, life insurance, all that wonderful stuff that sometimes feels a bit morbid. But one of the things that's most important to me is how my kids are taken care of, especially how their day-to-day health is taken care of. Now, when you're doing a trust, that would be considered an expression of wishes. It's not technically legally enforceable, but it's a very strong suggestion that this is how I'd like my kids cared for. To make a long story short, I realized that I needed to lay a very clear and detailed framework to ensure that my kids' health and well-being would be cared for in my absence. And while I'm doing it for my kids, why not share it with you so that you can have a framework for yours? So this podcast, my online courses and education, the work I do, that's what all this stuff is about. It's complicated out there. We're up against a lot. And that's why I think it's so important that we join forces, really to protect the next generations. For me, even though I've been in the health and wellness world for a long time, even though I've been aware of this stuff for a long time, 2020 brought them into much sharper focus for me. Because as you know, that's when the world went crazy with COVID. But that's when I was pregnant with my first son. In fact, most of 2020 I don't remember because I was either in bed or throwing up. It wasn't an easy pregnancy, and most of my memories involved staring into a toilet. But being pregnant and having a baby during that time made me see it all through a new lens, not just as a practitioner, but as a mother preparing to protect her child in a world that felt unpredictable, flawed, and downright crazy. And moms out there, you get it. I don't have to explain it. That deep, fierce mama bear level of protection we have for our kids. Until I had a kid, I never knew I had this in me. And let's just say 2020 was the year I discovered it. We have a kid's Christmas book about a little owl named Rocky who got stuck in the tree that went to Rockefeller Center for Christmas that year. And the book starts out by saying, Christmas is always a time of good cheer, but 2020 had been a rough year. So we read this book every night during December. We even have a stuffed owl named Rocky to put in our Christmas tree. And my son always asks me, why was 2020 a rough year? And I just have to say, buddy, I'll tell you when you're older because it's a very long, convoluted, crazy story. But one thing COVID did was really expose on a massive level a lot of flaws in our medical system and how we approach healthcare. I mean, these flaws were there before, but they became glaringly obvious. And not only did we witness people struggling with the virus itself, but with underlying health conditions that made their outcomes so much worse. As a society, we've become so reactive, so symptom-based, instead of looking at the underlying reasons why all of these things were occurring. And it's not just COVID, it goes across the board to many of the symptoms we experience. Pain, low energy, brain fog, anxiety, depression, autoimmune conditions, digestive issues, cancer. We chase so many symptoms, we give so many pills to treat symptoms, but we don't typically look at what's going on underneath all of that. And this is why it's so important to not only understand the current world we're navigating, but having the tools and knowledge to do so effectively for ourselves and for our families. And through this podcast, through the programs I teach and the work I do, I hope to help you build that toolbox. My goal is to help people break free from the conventional medical model of chasing symptoms and get to the real issues that are draining their energy, keeping them sick, and impeding their healing processes. But in order to do that, we have to take a look at how the body actually works and how everything works together for healing and therefore wellness to occur. And I want to keep it really simple today. This is the foundation. It's what I base all of my work off of. In order for your body to recover from any of the health challenges you're facing, and even in order for your body to reach its peak, your body needs energy to fuel that process so it can actually do the deep work you're asking it to do. Yep, you even need energy to be able to get your energy back. And I'm not talking about artificial energy from caffeine, energy drinks, or sugar, and not the woo-woo kind of energy either. The type of energy I'm referring to is that deep, sustained power generated at the cellular level, more specifically the mitochondrial level, that fuels every single facet of our lives, including our body's ability to heal and recover. Your body has to have enough energy to be able to do the deep work you're asking it to do. If you don't have enough energy being produced at that mitochondrial level, you might be experiencing something I like to call cellular fatigue. Cellular fatigue is like trying to run on a low battery. You know how your phone struggles to perform efficiently when the battery gets drained? The continual pop-ups and red battery icon are constant reminders that you're running low on power, and your body works in a similar way. When your cells lack the energy they need to function optimally, it's like your body's batteries are running low, and after a while, some important functions start getting disrupted or shutting down. You might experience this as fatigue, but it can also be expressed as a wide variety of other health issues. Here's the deal. If you want to heal and recover from anything, you need energy to fuel that process, and it all starts at the mitochondrial level. Once you have the energy production piece in place, then all the other beneficial things you might be doing, like trying to get more sleep, eating better, doing a detox, losing weight, working out, or taking time to relax, those things are going to start falling into place a whole lot better. And when you're dealing with nagging symptoms or even chronic health issues, this means that you'll have the energy to actually start addressing the underlying issues that are driving your symptoms. But before we focus on any of those other things, the number one step that needs to be in place in order for any of this to be successful is energy production at the mitochondrial level. So how do you do that? Well, as we get started on this podcast journey together, that's some of the stuff I'm going to be teaching you. But when it comes to you in your life, getting back to who you know without a shadow of a doubt you're designed to be is also a journey. And I believe it's one of the most important and worthy journeys you will ever take because it's the one that helps you reconnect with yourself, with those dreams and desires that are hidden deep within your heart, with the people you love and care about, and with your purpose. And I would be honored to walk alongside you in that process. You might be someone who's been searching for answers for a really long time. You feel like crap, you've been shuffled from doctor to doctor with no solid answers as to why you're experiencing all of these seemingly random symptoms, and you're tired. Maybe you even feel like quitting. But here's what I do know. Your body is brilliant. You have incredible healing and regenerative capabilities written into your DNA and woven throughout every fiber of your being. You just need to learn the right way to access them, and that's what I'm here to help you do. But let me tell you, as we set out on this transformative journey together, and to get those answers you've been searching for, we're going to have to defy a lot of ideas, concepts, and practices that have become deeply entrenched in our society, especially ones that have permeated the medical and wellness communities. And this is why I'm going to dare you to be defiant. This defiance is not marked by rebellion, disobedience, or insubordination. Well, maybe just a little bit. But truly, it's marked by your choice once and for all to take a higher road, one that requires more effort, but in turn promises to strengthen, transform, and refine you. This becomes evident in the food and activity choices you make, the way you treat those around you, the words you choose to speak over yourself and others, the things you let into your life and the things you don't, how you approach your unique challenges and goals, the way you use the gifts you've been given, and even in how you take care of yourself. This means making choices that align with your long-term values and goals, not just what feels good in the moment. It means questioning outdated advice and challenging the status quo. And it also means showing up for yourself in ways that honor your body's brilliance and potential. You were not created to fit a mold. You were created to be an expression of the life that's inside of you. Your body is the means by which you enact your beliefs, and it's the way in which you fulfill your calling. And that's what I'm here to help you reclaim. So if this has resonated with you, if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll stick around because there's a lot more great stuff to come. If you're on YouTube, follow me there. If you're listening on an audio platform, subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating or even a review. And if there's someone you love and care about who could use a little healing state mojo in their lives, share this with them. This is the way we're going to be able to get this work out to more and more people and be a blessing in their lives. So thank you for joining me today. Remember, your body is brilliant and it knows how to heal. Together, we're helping you tap into that brilliance and create real, lasting transformation and change. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or evening wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Heather Creson, and this is Healing State Mojo.